starting in this game, but watch out for the top.
For the Bombers, starting with Haley Nutter.
For the Bombers, Haley's a power pitcher. She's going to go right at these hitters, challenge them. She likes to hit.
And Lawson, the second baseman, has a count of 1-0. And that pitch a called strike over the inside corner. Kelsey, it is warm though today. It's 94 degrees. You mentioned the hitter-friendly Colorado conditions. You square up a ball, you're probably going to get rewarded.
Even in the games before this and on the other fields, we already saw some home runs. I mean, this Iowa team, I think they had 5 in their last game. Expect some long shots today.
On the ground to first, and there is Henderson in time to easily step on the bag and retire Lawson for the first out of our 18U Power Pool Championship.
And you saw Nutter, Nutter not afraid to go inside to Lawson, got her jammed up, grounded out to the first baseman.
And this is Goose Hutchins. And this is a young lady it feels like we've been talking about for more than a year, and we'll continue to talk about for a long time to come.
That's because she doesn't graduate high school till 2027. She played in this game last year. She's playing up at an 18U. And a name like Goose, you really don't forget it, and you don't forget the style of play as well. She is a power hitter. I expect some big at-bats from Goose Hutchins in this game.
Next pitch on the way from Nutter in there for a strike. And we could talk a lot about college commitments, and we will. I know a lot of people interested where these top players are going, but for Hutchins, that's not even a conversation point because of her age. Still has some time to come. Took that one at the top of the zone for a called strike. Goose out of Shawnee, Kansas. She looks like she's ready for business in that box. Batting here in the top of the first inning and waves through a pitch down on strike, so that's a good beginning for Haley Nutter.
Great start for Haley Nutter. You got an easy ground out, and then you come back with a strikeout. We've already seen her attack the zone in different spots. She's ahead of the count, 1-2. You see her catcher, Morrison, setting up high and outside. She gets the swing and miss. Their head coach, Scott Smith, said she gets a lot of those, and he likes them as well.
And here's Gracie King, the catcher, batting third. We were talking about this Iowa team and their 5 home runs, Kelsey. They kind of found some offense. And how about King with 2 homers, including a grand slam in the semifinal game?
I mean, have yourself a game, Gracie. Last game, coach told me they walked 2 batters before her, and then she made them pay with a grand slam. That kind of cracked the game open for them. It was actually a close game. She had the grand slam, and then her next at bat came up with a 2-run shot. They ended up beating the Hot Shots 17-7, and this offense just over the course of this summer has really started to come alive here in Colorado.
She is a Georgia Tech commit, and again, Nutter working the top of the zone. That's something we heard Coach Smith talking about, how Nutter will utilize all the quadrants. And for me, not as a pitching guy, but that excites me because that means you have to have pretty good command.
You got to be confident in what you throw, and like you said, attack the hitters. Not afraid to let her defense go to work, and she's got a pretty good pitching coach as well in the dugout.
Yeah, you teased it. You might as well finish it off.
Kat Osterman calling pitches for this Texas Bomber team. We were talking with Scott Smith beforehand. I mean, what an incredible opportunity to be coached by a legend in the game.
That ball's crushed in the air, right center field. We've got our first home run, and it comes off the bat of Gracie King, her 3rd homer in the last game plus. Stay hot, young lady. And she's put Iowa Premier in front, 1-0. Elevate and celebrate. And Gracie King got one up and out in a blink of an eye.
Well, her bat stays hot. This one getting too much of the plate, and King makes Nutter pay. Taking this one to right center field, way over the temporary fence, and gives her Iowa team the lead here in the first inning.
So after 5 home runs in the semis, including a pair from King, Iowa Premier with the long ball, and it brings up Reese Pogue, who is the shortstop and committed to Oklahoma State. And another one of the 2026s. I'm amazed by the number of 2026s we have for both of these teams in this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of young talent playing competitive softball, going up against future competitors, even future teammates for a couple of players. But yeah, a lot of youth on both of these squads getting some great competitive reps here in Colorado at this tournament.
And it speaks to their ability to not only handle this competition, but to continue to do so, to play against this caliber of opposing teams and pitching and whatever that comprises. Nutter's 1-1 is on that corner. She is indeed painting around the portions of the zone, not afraid to work up as well.
Yeah, that was a great spot by Nutter, perfectly on the outside corner, able to get ahead and hopefully bounce back after giving up the home run.
1-2 the count. That's a check swing at a high pitch. And you were talking about Kat Osterman. I would say there's immediate buy-in from these pitchers. There's no questioning of what she might say or might suggest.
Yeah, I don't think I would question one of the best to ever do it, if not the best to do it. I mean, she probably just has a level of respect from these players. I know I grew up watching her play. These players might be a little bit too young to be able to watch her in her prime, but certainly you know the name around the sport, and I can't even believe the opportunity to have her as your coach.
She's a busy woman as well with her involvement in pro softball. She's got a young one around the household. Here's a 3-2, and that's over the inside corner, knee high, well placed to get the strikeout of Pogue. But Kelsey, how about the swing from a young lady from Northwest Arkansas, committed to Mississippi State? Brooklyn Gidley, a 2026. Wouldn't surprise me if we don't see about 3 pitchers for each of these 2 teams, though, over the course of this Power Pool Championship game, and that'll be popped up and back and out of play.
Yeah, both coaches said it's been pitch by committee to get to this point. Obviously, you're also battling the heat here in Colorado, going a few innings, and also battling some great offense, too. Scott Smith said he wouldn't be surprised if the score ended up being like 15-14,
he did say that.
So when you're giving up a lot of home runs, you got to get a different look in there, get a different arm as well.
It is a temperature and a climate at an altitude that requires maybe a little mental fortitude, although that's part of Colorado as well. You're worried about the fly balls, and sometimes it's the arid conditions and the hard bounces that skip through, and Gidley able to get on base with a single to begin things in the bottom of the first.
Well, she got a great bounce on this one. Gidley, a slapper, that's what you want to do. You want to put the ball on the ground and then get some air time with it, give you enough time to get the first base as you get another look at it. Bounces right into fair play and right over the third baseman, and Hutchins rolls into the outfield for a leadoff single.
It's a helpless feeling as a third baseman. Annabella Abdullah next in. Committed to Texas. What did we hear this week? She might have hit 7 home runs?
That's a wild stat. 7 home runs in 1 week.
And in 3 games. Off and running is Gidley, and she's going to swipe that on King, so she gets the stolen base. So you hear numbers like that for Abdullah, and you understand why she is committed to Texas, and then you really get excited to see how she plays on this stage. Another 2026, so she'll be back next year as well, and that's a pretty good pitch from Morton, but it just missed, maybe off the corner.
I said this in the open. These are the future stars of college softball, and we're getting a taste of it right here.
And Abdullah rung up on strike, so she's had a great tournament to this point. How about this paint job from Morton?
That's a great spot. Look at that. Just enough spin, a little low in the zone. A great job by King behind the plate to frame it.
Almost had a little backdoor screw action to it. And that pitch fades down to Elsa Morrison. She hit a couple of homers in the semifinal game. So she, like King, had 2 homers to put her team in this championship.
Yeah, these are a tough 2 hitters back-to-back in this Texas lineup. So it's a great bounce back from Morton in the circle after giving up the leadoff circle to sit the big bat of Abdullah down. Now she's got to go right at Morrison here with 1 out.
Future Lady Vol is Elsa. Hard hit, past the dive of Pogue, and that's going to send Gidley around third. She'll slam on the brakes, but aggressive base running. Morrison takes second, the ball gets away, and Gidley will score. They say put the ball in play and good things happen, and that was the case. Even Gidley, her aggressive turn, I think, drew the attention of the defense to force that throw.
And it all started with Morrison being able to put the ball in play. She put on the ground, but just enough to squeeze it through that 5-6 hole. And like you said, the pressure of Gidley on the base pass, she rounded third base hard. But the shortstop Pogue throwing it to Lawson at second just tips off the mitt, gives it plenty of space for Gidley to easily score on that play.
Could have a courtesy runner out at second base. Buscemi will run, and this is Montgomery Henderson, who is the cleanup hitter at an Oklahoma State commit. She is a 2025, so this is the last go-round for these 25s, the last opportunity to play at an event such as this and then chase national championships. And I think the one thing that's fun about games like this is you know these teams have faced each other before, and when we talked to Coach Scott Smith about his Bombers, they played this team in the semifinals of a national championship a year ago, and it went to extra innings. That's how talented these teams are.
That's how competitive they are, and I expect that here. I mean, 1-1 in the first inning, too. Big swing and a miss. But, yeah, it was a great matchup last year. Bombers ended up taking down Iowa in extra innings to get to the Final Four of the national championship. That game, obviously, a huge stage and a great competitive matchup between these two.
Pitch misses to Henderson. Then maybe it's just me. I enjoy powerhouse programs from different regions of the country. It's Iowa. They're based out of Des Moines, but they have players from Arkansas and whatnot around the region. And this Texas team, we know how much talent is in Texas. And the Bombers always well represented. So I think sometimes the players get excited about playing teams outside of their region.
Yeah, it's just more competition. You get to see different looks. You get to meet players from all around the country. And like we said, some of these players are going to be future teammates. And that's super cool. So you get the best of the best.
How about that line drive right to first and James? Able to spear that one. That was a heat seeker.
Hard hit. She was ready for it. Look at her feet set. Ready to go down. Got down to eye level. Make the catch. Look back to second.
She played that like a hockey goalie trying to protect her teeth.
So athletic.
Avery Tucker. Next in. She's a 2026, committed to Ole Miss. Ole Miss found their way to the Women's College World Series this year. Going through my Razorbacks as that pitch is in there for a strike. Each team with a run in the first in this 18U Power Pool Championship game. Morton misses a little bit up, maybe a little bit out. Next one on the way, that is a wave and a miss. Tucker down on strikes. The Bombers get a run on a couple of singles, a stolen base and an error. Tied at one after one, off to a good start here in Colorado.
We already saw a home run. We saw a run come across for Texas in a different way. But now hopefully the rest of the lineup gets an opportunity to face the arms of each of these teams.
So Nutter back to the circle. The batter is Haley Bolts, the center fielder. Committed to Omaha. That's a spot that Nutter's continued to work. Outside corner, just about belt high.
I think she's gotten the call some of the time, and some of the time she hasn't. So
it's been
also
kind of a mixed bag, isn't it?
Yeah, testing it out. That's a great spot, high outside. But now you got to make a note of that as well in the circle.
That's about neck high and up and out of the zone. See the Omaha logo on her left sleeve. Nutter's pitch is poked back and out of play.
I think that's really cool when teams have that, being able to showcase your future home, be proud of all the work you put in to earn that. She's heading to Omaha 2025. It's a really cool thing they do with the jerseys.
And Nutter in the circle. She's a future Kentucky Wildcat. Hard hit into left for a base hit. Bolt's got an elevated pitch. I'm guessing that caught too much of the plate rather than on the corners.
that 2-2 pitch. Get another look at it. Yeah, just right underneath the letter. She got her hands up. Got extended. Hit that one pretty hard through the left side.
Paige Rummins, right fielder, next in. Illinois State commit. She is a 2025. One is off the corner and missing. Again, these teams will begin the regular portion of the bracket tomorrow, so they've already gone through a handful of games. More to come in the bigger event. That one's crushed. High and deep to left. How far will this one fly? And it's gone from Rummins. Up and out and gone. Kelsey, that was one off the bat. You knew it was going to end up on the other side of a fence.
And Paige Rummins knew it was off the bat as well. She had her hands up high in the air before she even touched first base. Let's get another look at this one. I'm not sure if it was her changeup or her off speed, but Rummins did a nice job waiting back on this, just getting every piece of it. You said, how far will this ball go? I mean, that's halfway through to the second fence in the outfield. And high fives from her coach as well. Big swing so far from Iowa Premier.
You know, she kind of throws her arms and her hands at that ball. It wasn't a full body swing, so to speak, and she still crushed it.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was a changeup from Nutter. So she did a nice job of waiting back just enough to get her hands on it, and boy, did she get every piece of it.
This is Kaya James, committed to UCLA. She's a 2026, and her dad is one of the coaches. Carlos James talked to us before the game, Greg Dickel as well. And when we got talking to Iowa with Carlos James, he said, where are you from? And I said, well, you know, Adair Casey, and no one knows where that's at. You know, population 400 or 500. And he said, well, my wife is from there, which normally forces me to say, what? She's been out to the old Dolan family farm. So this is a small world we live in.
Small world. I mean, what are the odds? And we're just talking about being able to see softball players from all across the country, and then you meet someone from your hometown.
A little bit strange, but I tell you what, they're excited about their daughter because she's a UCLA commit. It's a long ways from Des Moines to Westwood. But now that UCLA is in the Big Ten, you know that they're going to travel back your direction.
I was just going to say, playing in the Midwest, Mom and Dad are going to be able to watch a ton of games. Obviously, Kaya's going to have to do a lot of traveling as well, but playing for an historic program like UCLA, made it to the Women's College World Series this past year. Exciting future ahead.
Good pitch on the corner. Strike three called. Nutter, when she has it working, able to paint and able to locate to those different quadrants and gets the strikeout.
And that's what makes her so dangerous. You don't know what is coming out of the hands of Nutter or where she's going to place this ball. Beautifully played, paints the outside corner. Now James looking on strike. So nice bounce back from Nutter in the circle after giving up the single and the two-run home run. Comes back, gets a strikeout, and gets a big first out.
Pitch fades down to Kylie Molitor, the DH. She's a Wisconsin commit, future Badger. She as well as a 2025. So all three of the runs for Iowa Premier have come on the long ball in a couple of innings.
Yeah, all three runs scored from home runs. We had the solo shot from Gracie King back in the first, and then the two-run shot from Paige Rummins here in the second.
Nutter into that windup, and her pitch, that was elevated, but Molitor could not resist. Spanked one foul down the line and left. So the fun part is these teams could meet again later on this week, but obviously some prestige to be able to play in the TV game for this 18U Power Pool Championship. Not sure if that was the changeup per se. It had a little drop and fade to it, and Nutter's worked that pitch in a couple of times to the left-handed batter. Chopped on the ground to short. Going to require a quick play, and Abdullah couldn't get there. That was almost do or die.
Yeah, I really don't think, honestly, Abdullah had a shot at that just because it was so softly hit and perfectly placed just out of the reach of Cruz at third base. Abdullah really had to charge. She would have had to barehand it and throw on the run. So the pressure was on for her with Molitor heading down first base. So regardless, that would have been a tough play for her to make. Now you got runner on first with one out.
Amelia Andrews, the left fielder, steps in. Another Illinois State commit, one of two on this team, this Iowa Premier Gold Squad, their national team. A couple of times this inning where that pitch from Nutter that's been maybe between the belt and the letters has induced a swing.
Yeah, she's getting hitters to chase. That pitch is so enticing when it comes in. It's difficult to get your hands up and attack. Andrews is able to foul it back. But difficult pitch to lay off.
See Morrison behind the plate. She's almost in full lather on this 90-plus degree late afternoon in Denver. Tell you what, it's always a thankless position in the heat in these tournaments, but
never envy the catchers.
It's always appreciated.
Very much so, especially from their pitchers.
Here's the 1-2. Andrews would not chase. Of course, it could rain and the temperature might drop from 90 to 60 in about an hour as well. So you never know here in Colorado. Waving a miss. Tell you what, Nutter just kept working up, and she got the swing from Andrews, the second strikeout of the inning, and the fourth so far through an inning and 2/3.
Yep, she kept attacking up in the zone. This one, she's kept moving a little bit more outside, and that one just enough high and outside to get the strikeout for Andrews.
Going to turn this lineup over for Lawson, who bounced out to first to begin the game. Texas commit. Boy, that ball is absolutely tattooed into right. Laid back in by Ramirez. Exit velocity is part of the new vernacular in baseball, and I have a feeling it's soon coming to softball, but that was epic with that exit velo.
Yeah, first pitch swinging for Lawson here. Just look at her load and look at the drive. Absolutely smokes this one out of reach of Gidley at second. So now you got 2 on, 2 out, and we're going to have a chat in the circle with pitching coach Kat Osterman.
I'm sure Kat Osterman was beaming in pride watching the Texas Longhorns win the championship this year in OKC.
Certainly was an exciting one, facing Texas Tech, too, in-state rivals.
Yeah, I don't believe she was even in Oklahoma City because they were already moving forward with Athletes Unlimited and getting ready for their season. Here's Goose Hutchins. Oh, boy, she had to bend out of the way.
Yeah, you see the catcher, Morrison, telling her, hey, just settle down, hit your spots, let your defense work behind you to get this final out.
That visit from Kat Osterman might have been in part because there's 2 outs and there's a couple of runners on base, and because Goose is in the box. You'd love to get through this inning with no more than the 2 runs scoring. Got to check that watch or that wristband for the sign. Big 2-0 pitch to Hutchins. Tell you what, that showed pretty good poise as well. 2-0, I might have been ready to come unglued. I think Nutter was in hopes that she caught the inside corner.
That was a great spot by Nutter. Going inside against Hutchins. Didn't get the call. Now you got a 3-0 count.
You green light her 3-0?
I would.
I say so. That one just about clipped her. In fact, it did. So that will be a hit by pitch. Doesn't have to hurt to count, but it would have been ball 4 anyhow. And now the bases are loaded for Gracie King, and all she did in the first was this. Connect for a home run, her 3rd in the last game plus. Don't blow out any Achilles on the high five there at third base.
Well, she already hit 1 grand slam today. Can she make it 2 in game number 2?
Pitch fades down and in from Nutter. Yeah, there's no place to put Gracie King, and you recognize her power. You want to throw strikes, but you certainly don't want to throw too good of a strike and leave it over the heart of the plate.
Yeah, and that's the struggle right now. You're trying to hit the zone. You're trying just to get a strike.
Pick try at third. That was close but safe. As Molitor dives back in under the tag of Cruz.
Great hour behind the plate, Morrison. That was quick.
And she also got the strike. Sometimes you want to frame that pitch. You want the strike call more than you want to jump up and quickly fire behind the runner, but I thought she got the strike to climb back into this sequence. Bloop to first, and Henderson will track it down. That's a big out to retire King and leave the bases loaded. A couple of runs score on the Paige Rummins homer. Bombers have a little bit of work to do. We're going to have not 1 but 2 Athletes Unlimited players coming up for you in the 3rd inning, joining us. I'm sure it's the highlight of their week, right? To be in this hot box with us.
Exactly.
Another one hanging out behind, Danielle Gibson Wharton. She's got her young son. She's been back in the pro ranks, coaches at Arkansas when she's not playing. And I think the fun part about some of these athletes is that they are also coaches, and then they step away from their coaching job for a month or 2 to play pro softball. So there's some time management going on.
That's pretty remarkable. Being able to step away from the game, put on the coaching lens, but then also pick the sport right back up.
You know, you talk about buy-in for your athletes and getting them excited. As Keller takes a high strike, they don't have to look you up on Wikipedia or Google to figure out what you used to do way back when. They can watch you now play.
That's incredible. That's huge, especially for these young athletes to look up to as well.
Hard hit, dribbling into left for a base hit between Hutchins and Pogue. So Kinley Keller gets a leadoff single on the bottom of the 2nd, and here come the Bombers.
That's the 3rd hit so far for this Texas Bombers team. All have been singles, all just finding the right spot. Keller, just like her teammate Morrison, splitting this 5-6 hole. Little ground ball, just perfectly placed.
Well, she let that ball get deep, didn't she? She didn't make contact out in front. She got that thing mid-stomach.
And still able to do something with it.
Isabel Cruz, a 2025, heading to Utah. Takes a pitch down in the dirt. Well, again, what Scott Smith told us is that this team was very balanced, 1 through 9, 1 through 10. You get to the bottom of the lineup against some teams, you might think, well, here's a chance to get some outs. But when these 2 teams get together, or any 2 teams this deep in the tournament, that's not necessarily the case. Different heroes in different games, and you're just waiting to see who steps forward. Well, that pitch fluttered it.
He said that's been the most fun part, especially about this week, is everyone's been contributing. 1 through, for this team, 1 through 10, as we get another look at this pretty pitch. Just look at the way it floats in. That's the perfect spot for your off speed.
I swung twice just looking at that. There's a chopper foul outside of 3rd base.
Pretty big difference in velocity as well. Really good job of keeping these hitters off balance. If she can mix that in a little bit more.
Brinkley Morton's next one. Gets the check swing foul ball. And, you know, so much of pitching is about offsetting timing. And I think you see it when these top tier teams go up against each other. You've got to pitch. You've got to work. You just simply can't throw.
You can't beat these hitters with just speed anymore. You got to be able to mix in spin, hit your spots, and also keep them off balance while mixing in speeds, and maybe a couple different speeds as well, not just 1 or 2. You need to be able to mix in a ton, because these are the elite hitters. They'll make you pay if you give them anything close to the zone.
That's why we'll see so many college coaches here this week, and it's not uncommon in some of the semifinal games to see in the stands parents and a who's who of college coaches, and they, for the most part, have their commits in this game, but then they have a chance to see them play against other top competition. That one is going to carry over the head of Andrews in left. Cruz is going to get a long single. Andrews was playing deep, and I thought she just about was going to have a chance to reach up and make that play.
I thought that was going to be the first home run for the Bombers, but it ends up being just another single for this squad. It was just smoked off the bat of Cruz, and like you said, I thought Andrews had a shot at it going up for it leaping, but just over the mitt, it hits the fence. It ends up being just a single, so now runners on first and second for the Bombers, but still nobody out.
Braylon Daniels, the DP. Next in, she's going to square to bunt. Instead, takes a strike. Kansas commit, another recent graduate, not a superstitious type. Well, if you're Morton, you give up a ground ball hit and a line drive that was almost caught, but now you have to find a way to get some outs against the bottom three in the lineup.
And for the Bombers, you've been making better contact. The further we go down this lineup, they're hitting the ball hard, they're making good contact. Luckily, Iowa's limited all of it to a small amount of damage so far with just a few singles, but they're starting to get the hang of it here.
That was a late bunt try by Daniels. We talk about squaring late, offering late. I mean, she barely got that bat around in time to make contact. Trying to maybe confuse these infielders.
Yeah, you could see, well, now with 2 strikes, infield's playing back, but you're trying to get a hit out of it.
One's fouled back and out of play. I'm looking at her batting gloves. It feels like a bag of Skittles with all the different colors on those.
Got pink, bright yellow, some blue, green.
When you set those down in the dugout, you don't miss those, right?
Yeah.
None of your teammates don't take those by mistake. Yeah.
Correct.
Good read out of the hands. Daniels knew that was going to be down from Morton, and the count has gone full. This all of a sudden becomes a really big pitch in this game.
You got a full count. You got 2 on the bases. You got nobody out. If you're Iowa, you need an out here.
Mile high fly ball. Watch this one even carry a little bit. It's going to send Bolts way over into right center. Catch is made. Keller with a nice advancement on a tag for the first out. Bolts had to really kind of navigate a lot. I didn't know it was quite that breezy outside, Kelsey, but that ball moved.
It did. I mean, Bolts started kind of dead center, and she drifted all the way into right center field to make the catch and get the out. So nice job by Bolts being able to control that one in the air and get the sure out. So now you got one away, but runners on the corners as well. Opens up a lot of different scenarios for Texas.
Gabby Castillo steps in from the left side, and that was placed right over the outside corner for strike 1. Oklahoma State commit. Another recent graduate of 2025. Pokes one down the line in left. That's fair inside the red, white, and blue chalk line. It's going to chase home a run. The throw to third. Not in time. Castillo didn't get a lot of it, but she got enough of it and kept it fair. And the Bombers within a run.
The Bombers just keep passing the bat and moving runners. This one off the bat of Castillo just slides into fair territory. Perfectly placed, able to score a run and advance the runners. Nice job by Texas, slowly but surely putting some runs on the board here in the second.
Here they come. Brenly Ramirez next in. She's another Kansas commit in a 2025. Big hack. She bats 10th in this Bombers lineup. Boy, I love that. You know, there's someone who's sat around for about an hour waiting for a chance to bat. Runners at second and third. She was ready to hack. By the way, pros Victoria Hayward, Hannah Flippen will each join us over the next couple of half innings up here in the booth in Colorado. We'll welcome them to our hot box. Pitch in there for a strike. Some traffic on the bases. Fouled in and out of the glove of King. I'll say it again for Morton. It feels like this is kind of an important batter.
Well, now you got 2 in scoring position. First you had runners on first and second. Now you got second and third. You want to take care of this number 10 hitter in this lineup before you turn it over.
Wave and a miss. That's a nice pitch from Morton. She needed that second out. It's also her third strikeout. Gives her a chance to get one more and end this inning and keep her team in front.
And base runners stay where they're at. Look at this ball just going up in the zone. The movement, high and away. Not the swing and a miss, and a huge strikeout.
What a
now
great shot
outs
from our crew, just to see
Yeah.
that spin and movement. Although that one is hit fair inside the bag at third by Gidley. It's going to chase home a pair of runs, and the Bombers are in front 4-3. Second hit for Gidley, and that's at least the second this inning, Kelsey, that's just been fair, just past a fielder.
I keep saying it, they have been putting it in play in great spots. Everything just barely down the line, barely in fair territory. This one, great shot, fair ball, 2 runs come in to score. And this Bombers team has just been passing the bat along, putting the ball in play. And now they got the lead here in the second.
Boy, Scott Smith had the windmill going over there coaching at third base as Gidley gets the 2-run double. 4-3. What did he tell us today? He's been doing this 24 years with the Bombers.
Yep.
You know, he had a great line. I said, you know, what kind of keeps you going? And he said, you know, we're just trying to advance the game. And the popularity, I don't believe, has been any higher than it is now. As evidenced by the conversations we'll have about the pro game coming up soon. And this is Abdullah, who struck out in the first. She does have the 7 home runs, though, so far in this event. You could see Morton concentrating on not just throwing a strike, but throwing a good strike to jump ahead 0-2. Going to set up a little further out. That's a wise decision by King. Get ahead and then hope to get a chase.
Yeah, 0-2. You know Abdullah's in protect mode. She's going to attack anything near the zone, so setting up far enough outside, not give her a chance when you're ahead.
There's the battery looking to get that third out. It's been a 3-run inning for the Bombers here in the second. Check that watch for a quick sign. Next pitch, grounded to short. It eats up Pogue from her knees, though, able to throw to first to retire Abdullah. That's a great big hang with him there from Pogue, and it ends the inning. Bombers end up getting 3. They take the lead. A lot of softball left in our 18U Power Pool Championship.
Hey, you know that they're listening and they're learning when they can start to speak the language and stuff too, so I welcome it.
Nice advancement from Pogue. You've been a pro for a while, correct?
Yeah.
What has the incarnation been like of the pro ranks to where you are from maybe where you were several years ago, just to see Athletes Unlimited and their growth?
I think the excitement in the college game and just seeing these young girls being here and people recognizing the teams or having it truly as a dream. I think when I was their age, I had no idea I could play pro, would play pro, what the opportunities were. So I think our partnerships with ESPN, MLB, and just the visibility of what we're able to do now is awesome to be a part of, and I think you can feel it in these new environments.
It's exciting. I think the TV aspect changes everything because it becomes more tangible and real for the young players who aspire, those that are in college that hope to get that crack in a couple of years. Just watching you, your name, your style, your game becomes even that much more familiar with those that are interested.
Yeah, and we've had some incredible, rookies come in from their college seasons. I'm teammates with Brie Ellis, and she had an incredible year. She has so many fans and people that are now wanting to watch the Talons and be a part of pro softball because of her.
All right, my day job is broadcasting games at Arkansas.
I knew you'd love that. I knew you loved that.
So, Brie Ellis mania, I would say it's real.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Haley Bolts is the batter. She singled back in the second inning. Victoria Hayward joins us.
We're actually got a new pitcher in the circle for the Texas Bombers as well. Jada Savage Coming in relief for the Bombers, we said they were going to be a pitch-by-committee squad. She's in the circle. She gave up the leadoff single, but she is also a power pitcher for this team. She brings a lot of pop, but she's also got a good changeup like that to get the ground out.
She got a changeup back to the circle, and she'll make the play. It shouldn't be allowed to make a pitching change when we're getting ready to bring a guest up to the booth, because it just throws us out of whack. Mark that down for your future coaching.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Kat's in there. We're learning from her every day. She knew we were coming in here, and she wanted to make a little shout-out.
Hey, take me back to the Olympics when you were part of that.
Yeah.
Team Canada, correct?
Yeah, and actually the original Pro League was huge for us in our development of Team Canada, just competing against the best. And so now to be able to be a part of the league that's going to help Team USA, Team Canada now prepare for 2028 is huge. And I think it's so great for our sport to see so many teams represented in that. And just the ability to play these games at such a high level is so huge.
And I tell you what, the Olympics, at least for me, I think that's part of the equation, the evolution of the pro game, but knowing that you're going to be competing in the Olympics and not wondering, is this an Olympic year or not, continues, I think, to further this sport in different ways.
I mean, hearing that it was going to be in LA, you have that kind of sense of relief. You're like, okay, we can work towards it, we can build it, because, I mean, anyone watching this game knows that it deserves to be in the Olympics every day of the week, twice on Sunday, and we're going to put on a great show. But definitely happy to see it in there in a couple of years.
Paige Rummins hit a 2-run homer back in the second, trying to find a way to at least tie up this game here in the third inning.
Victoria, tell me a little bit more about the Talons and the style of AUSL this year, because it changed from the format that they've been using a couple years ago. So just explain the format now and how you enjoy it. Yeah, so our traditional kind of format with Athletes Unlimited was a draft league where you're really mixing teams all the time. So it's kind of fun to get to play with a lot of different people, get to experience new teammates, and just really grow individually. And so now we were drafted one time, so we've gotten to play 12 games with the same group of people, and my team is just stacked with some incredible athletes, incredible humans. Hannah Flippen, who will be on in a second, Megan Faremo, Georgina Cork, just some of the best in the game. So to be able to, you know, compete together, find our style of play, which is power pitching, elite defense, some incredible bats. Like, our team really, I believe, just has it all. So super lucky to be a part of that group and be coached by some awesome people. And then the best part is when we go back to our old style at the end, it's going to really feel like an all-star kind of celebration of that, where you've played against these people for however many weeks, and then you actually go get to compete individually after doing it all summer long.
Rummins with another RBI. That's her third of the game, and she will even this thing up at 4 apiece. So able to play Pogue, who got on base with a single to begin things.
Yeah, she did a nice job waiting back on that pitch, too, to send this one into center.
Well, I love my side swings, and again, not afraid to let that get deep. Of course, she singled out to right center to tie up the game at 4. Victoria Hayward again joining us up in the booth. But part of this year is you're taking it on the road. You're not getting as much time in Rosemont, Illinois. Where have you played so far this year? Were you in Wichita?
We were in Wichita. We were in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We played at Love's Field in Oklahoma, so that was incredible. What a great experience. It was so great. And then we're headed to Salt Lake City. We're headed to Omaha, Nebraska, and Alabama. So we're definitely excited, kind of traveling the world and getting to play in some really, really awesome venues.
Do you sense the excitement from fan bases that might not have a chance to see you guys play in person if you were just in Illinois the entire time?
Absolutely. And I think, you know, you love when you're on social media and you're like, wow, bring a team to XYZ. We need this. So I think even just the new venues have started a lot of great conversations about, like, all right, where do they want to bring softball? Where is the next place that could really host a team? And, yeah, getting access to even more people, and the fans have really shown up. They've done a great job in supporting us.
That's the amazing part, I think, about me broadcasting in the SEC. You realize that these fan bases are growing, and now you're almost limited by the size of your stadium, because it's not uncommon to see sellouts and see games on TV. And I'm sure as both a coach and a player, that just continues to be very rewarding.
Yes, and you know, as we figure out kind of where our home stadium is and we kind of grow, and I'm excited for, you know, the Talons to have a home stadium next year and the years to come and really develop that, like, loyal fan base, which we've seen in a couple of the stadiums so far.
We got a pitching change break. We'll step aside and come right back to Colorado in a 4-4.
State commit, and she can get kids into trouble. Coach said that she gives a different look than the rest of their pitchers here, and hopefully that's what they're looking for in the third inning.
Well, she's facing Kaya James. I think what he said that was really interesting was that hitters will take a look at her, and what they get coming out of her hand is not what they expect, which is a little bit unusual. Nice play to get the out, trying to advance 2 bases. The ball's going to deflect away. Maybe a chance for a play at the plate, and that's going to be an out! We might have had obstruction, however. There was a bump at third base, and this run is going to end up. Tar comes out of you when you're coaching. Do you find yourself all of a sudden say, that's Coach Tar that's saying that rather than me?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely, she's got some Coach Tar-isms for sure that I think my players could now identify as that. But lots of great nuggets. I mean, she's one of the best in the game from just the mental perspective and everything she's been able to teach me. So I hope that some of me comes out, or some of her comes out.
I bet it does. From your Washington playing days and into the pro ranks, and now coaching at Nevada. And that's a wave and a miss, and that will, I think, be the third out. No? Is that 2? That should 3. The umpire said 2. Could have been 4. Victoria, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Fun inning. We'll step aside and come back with another guest right after this.
But if I have to say somewhere we've already been, I would say Norman, Oklahoma. We played at Love Stadium. And the crowd on Friday night was unlike any professional softball game crowd I've ever been a part of. They were into the game. The energy was high. They were rooting hard for the Volts because they have some recent Sooners on that team. So we were kind of the visiting team, but super fun. Crowd was loud, engaged the whole game. It was really awesome.
I mean, that has to be the venue to play at when it comes to softball of any type.
Yes, it is the top of the top for sure, and it is so exciting to think that other college stadiums around the country are soon going to look like that as well, because I feel like that's the direction this sport is going, and they won't miss it, teammates won't miss it, head coaches are going to be there, so it's going to be awesome.
Who says you can't go home again?
Hey, not me anymore.
Avery Tucker, the batter, with 2 outs. Victoria had all kinds of chaos and pitching changes. You're getting a quick inning.
Hey, I'm not mad about it.
And really quick, though, just talk about the Talons right now. You guys have played 12 games. You guys have won your last 4 games. Mm-hmm. Right now, you're doing pretty well at the plate this season. Just talk about the stretch that your team is on right now.
Yeah, we're having a hot streak for sure. We ended the first half really well, hoping to continue that momentum into the second half. But we have some really experienced veteran players mixed with some young rookies. That are very talented, and so I feel like we have a good balance of like staying level-headed through the highs and the lows of softball games and softball seasons, and so it's been really fun. Hope to just continue that.
And we were talking with Victoria about just the layout of it. You've been able to probably build a little bit more chemistry now that you're playing with the same players every
Yes,
week.
absolutely. The team chemistry is off the charts. It's fun to get to know these players. You see them on TV, and then playing side by side with them is awesome.
It's a single up the middle by Tucker. As somebody who calls a lot of Arkansas Razorback games, we see a lot of your team highlights on our social media feeds with one of your particular players.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Bree Ellis.
Yeah.
She is...
now, be honest, you haven't met somebody with that personality before, have you?
I literally was about to say she's an awesome softball player, but like 10 out of 10 human.
One out of a
humor, kind? One of a kind. Like, there's no one else like Bree Ellis. She's been awesome to work with.
Throw to second base is going to be in time to end the inning. So, Hannah Flippen, thanks for joining us. Best wishes for continued success.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Go Talon.
This is Amelia Andrews, the left fielder. So a couple of runs in the third, and we had that obstruction that played at the go-ahead run for Iowa Premier, and there's our coach and our guest is watching. She's like, I'm not so sure about that. I could see where Scott Smith might not have been real thrilled, but Flood able to come in and get a couple of outs. That was almost a broken bat, little dribbler. How about the shortstop play on the right side of second base, but then Abdullah could not collect. So Andrews will probably get an infield hit out of that with all the ground that Andrews had to cover. I thought she was just going to find a way to go about 10 feet to the right of second and collect that one.
Yeah, Abdullah had a good shot coming behind Flood to get that one, but just on the transfer, bobbled it just enough. Get Andrews enough time to get to first and lead off a board here for Iowa.
Got a pinch runner, first base as well. Cameron Kolkager will run. Coach Carlos James, he's been working overtime trying to navigate his team through this matchup, and going to send Lawson to the plate. She singled back in the second and fouls that one right back to the screen. I'm still amazed you can be a D1 head coach and a pro player all at the same time. Seems like a lot, but they navigate it.
That is so much on your plate.
That ball's tattooed high and deep and long gone off the bat of Lawson. A 2-run line drive laser beam homer. And Iowa Premier extends its lead. Well, that sounded loud, just coming off the bat of Matea Lawson.
I was just going to say that, Brett. The sound of that one, I didn't even have to lift my head. I knew it was going to be out of here. Lawson just absolutely crushing it. It was a perfect sound off this bat, perfect swing. She got her hands up enough to get this, and it was a no-doubter. Even the outfielders took probably 2 or 3 steps before they started just jogging. This one rolls all the way to the warning track. And the big bats have been showing up for Iowa in this game.
So it's a 7-4 game. First runs against Flood. She came on, got a couple of outs in the third, and this is Goose Hutchins, who's both been hit by a pitch and a strikeout victim. So we've already seen now 3 pitchers for the Bombers.
And we've seen 3 home runs from Iowa.
Yes, we have. King, Rummins, and now Lawson. So counting the semifinal game and half of the championship game, they've hit 8.
8 home runs.
You're giving me 6, 7, 8 fingers. Yes, 8. That's well placed for a called strike. Of her 15 pitches have been strikes, so she has been both around and in the zone, but not catching too much of the plate, maybe with the exception of that Lawson smash.
Yeah, I was going to say, back in the last inning, Flood did a great job of coming in, getting some outs, and being effective in attacking the zone. I think that one slip-up was the pitch to Lawson, but even then, Lawson put a great swing on a pretty solid pitch.
Wave and a miss. Hutchins offered it one up and out of the zone. She struck out a couple of times against different pitchers. And that is the first out of the inning.
That was a great pitch from Flood as we take another look at this. Up in the zone. Look at the rise. Look at the spin going above the letters, just above the eyes. That is a tough pitch to lay off of, even tougher to make any kind of contact with.
I cannot get enough of that slow-mo because that shows you the spin and the movement and just how tough it is to identify that as a hitter.
Shout out to our camera crew. I mean, you could see the spin on the ball in those replays. Get a great shot at a nice strikeout.
Gracie King skies another one to center. Does she have yet another home run? Indeed she does. How about 4 in the last 2 games? Tucker gave it the old college try. She got back to the bounce away fence and just could not collect. And Gracie King putting on a show.
Getting her money's worth today as she's fanning it to home plate. And take a look at this swing. I mean, she doesn't even swing. She doesn't even give a full swing on it, and she's still taking it. Goes down and gets this pitch, lifts it high in the air, and that does the rest.
Tucker was playing deep just like she was thinking, I'm going to be able to make a catch or have a chance to make a play. And the Georgia Tech commit says, not so fast.
Making it rain here in Colorado.
So it's 8-4 Iowa Premier in front of the Texas Bombers.
Wow, I'm still amazed by that swing.
It almost looked like she took a hard check swing and stopped. So Tucker had to get untangled from the fence, pick up her glove. She's almost back against the fence now. Again, that pitch rising up in the zone, and Pogue went too far with the swing, and the count 0-2. Hard hit, but foul outside of third base. You know, they take great care of these fields and they water them before the game, but you get a few whittings deep and it's almost like you're playing on a parking lot. It's hard, it's rough, it's arid, dry conditions.
Yeah, it makes it tough for the defense in the field too. Take some wild hops, you never know.
I think half of the infield is now on top of our papers in the booth. It's kind of drifted through the air and made its way onto our equipment. And Pogue fouls one back. Nothing into the count. Home run balls fly out. Dust drifts in.
Not just a hot box. Dust and
Dust
heat.
box. Good pitch. Tapped softly to second base. A flip by Gidley. Retires Pogue to end the inning. Beg your pardon, that's the second out, so not done just yet. And I guess Flood could hope that the inning was over, but she has more work to do.
She bounced back after the 2-run shot, the strikeout. After giving up another, she gets the ground out here. So looking to put 2 outs back-to-back and end this inning. Get her team back to the offense.
I've enjoyed watching her pitch. Obviously, those rice balls with the spin up in the zone. She's also had a couple of balls kind of tapped off the end of the stick when she's had these hitters betwixt and between, as Bolts will foul one away, and that's kind of the name of the game against a powerful team.
And we had said this when she came into the game. Coach said she's only listed at 5'2". She's small but mighty. You got to bring a lot of power. You don't see pitchers of that height typically at this level. But she really surprises some people in the box.
And again, committed to Arizona State. That pitch started at the kneecaps of Bolts and finished around her nose.
She's got some great spin, especially on that rise. We saw it on that strikeout to Hutchins.
A little bit off the corner. Found back and out of play. This has been a 3-run inning. 2-run homer from Lawson. Second home run of this game from Gracie King. That's a happy and hot dugout, and it can be one in the same. And that's going to get past Abdullah into center. That might have been off the end of the bat, but the strength of Bolts will still send that into center for her second hit in 3 at-bats.
Yeah, Bolts has had a consistent day at the plate. She battled in that bat at 2, saw a lot of pitches, fouled a lot off. Like you said, she didn't make amazing contact off that pitch, but just enough to lift it up the middle for a single here with 2 outs.
This is Paige Rummins. Listen, we should not have a Haley Bolts and a Haley Holtz on the same team. That's going to cause.
Make it difficult for us.
It's going to make them confusing moments for both broadcasters and official scores at some point. Good pitch for a strike to Rummins, who's 2 for 2 with 3 runs batted in and a couple of runs scored. And were this a 1-run game, or if it finishes a 1-run game, that'll be a topic of conversation.
Yeah, that was the craziest play we've seen in this game, no doubt. Obviously, head coach Scott Smith from Texas not agreeing with the call. He's got a great argument, but umpires deciding that was the play. That's how it was scored, and that's where we are.
And that was the go-ahead run. That made it 5-4. Since then, 3 more runs have come across for Iowa Premier, batting in this 4th inning of the 18U Power Pool Championship game for the Colorado 4th of July. Of course, brought to you by Triple Crown. Another one poked foul down the line and right and out of play. Sun's out, guns out here in this afternoon in Colorado.
Gotta have your sunscreen out too.
You better bring the serious sunscreen. Lather up in that all week long. The high Colorado sky will get you from a sunburn perspective. Another one in the center, but this is playable, and Tucker is there. She will make the catch, and that does end the inning. A couple of home runs, though, Kelsey, this inning for Iowa Premier.
Well, they've been hitting the long ball all tournament long. Lawson getting every piece of this one for a 2-run shot, and Gracie King with her second home run of the game. Iowa up 8-4.
And we're live at the beach following one beat.
Rounds out to begin the fourth, and it brings up Isabel Cruz, who did single and score in the second. So for the Bombers, we know that this team is dangerous, and offensively they can do a lot, but I'm sure they'd love to kind of get back in this here, in this inning.
Yeah, we really haven't seen the big swings from Texas that they've been seeing in the last few games to get them to this point. Coach said it's really been the offense that's been carrying them. We saw them especially pass the bat in the second inning where they scored 3 runs. But other than that, it's been hard-hit singles, nothing more than that for this team, as Iowa has been able to limit the big extra base hits for the Bombers.
Good pitch from Morton, and she's been in there throughout.
Brinkley Morton has been in the circle the entire day. I'd expect to see a different pitcher by now in the 4th inning, but she's been solid so far. She had a bit of a rocky second inning, but she regrouped. She had a 1-2-3 in the last inning, if you count the caught stealing.
How about that Rice pitch as well? Climbing up in the zone, and Cruz will wave and miss.
And she's not showing any signs of fatigue out there in the hot Colorado sun. Going upstairs for the strikeout on Cruz. You see another look at it. Inside and high, you're never going to get a piece of that pitch. Such a tough spot to hit. Well placed by Morton.
I know why that pitch is so dangerous. I mean, it's tantalizing. Out of the hands, it looks like it's going to be in the zone. And then you're swinging at a pitch that's at your neck or your nose.
It's so close to you, especially the inside. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Your eyes get bigger and bigger as it's getting close to you, and you have to make that split-second decision. It's so tough to lay off those high pitches.
Talking just briefly with Brinkley's mom before the game. They're from Fayetteville, Arkansas, where I spend a lot of time. And we mentioned, though, that Brinkley is a Mississippi State commit. You see the spin, you see the movement. And she's been navigating through this tough Texas Bombers lineup. Bombers did score 3 runs in the second, but since then, it's been a couple of zeros, and she's trying to put up another one. It just feels like when you're a pitcher in Colorado, when you can get a zero and you can get a little bit of momentum, it's when you start feeling like you're a little more in command and not at the mercy of the conditions.
Being able to hang a zero is a big deal,
Yes.
especially here, and she's retired 4 of the last 5 hitters she has seen.
On the ground, but that's going to be called fair. Oh, goodness, that looked like that was a foul ball. Maybe I misjudged it, but Daniels is going to have a 2-out single. Did I miss something, Kelsey? Now, the plate umpire called it. The third base umpire jumped out of the way. To me, that looked like it was a foul ball.
Well, even Daniels at the plate, she stopped running down the first base line. She thought it was foul too. Let's see it.
Now, come on now. That's not a fair ball.
Right in front of the bag. It bounces in foul territory.
That's a good job by the crew. You know, initially, again, the first instinct was to call it fair, but to get together and at least be able to talk this through. And now Coach Smith, and you can't blame him, he wants an explanation, but as we saw in the replay, that was not a fair ball.
Yeah, great job by the crew to come together and talk things through to make the correct call. Obviously, Coach Smith has been on the wrong side of 2 controversial calls so far today, but that one, good job by the crew to get that one right.
The tough part is, with the third base umpire position there, that feels like that's his call when it gets to the base. And if it doesn't get to the base, then it's the plate umpire's call, where that would have to be one thing, a foul ball, and that will end the inning. So, nice job by Morton, able to navigate through this frame.
Take our step forward is by enhancing the coaching side of that, letting them have a little bit more customization and really talk to their team with anything and everything that they need to on game day.
Tyler Edwards, who's committed to Southern Illinois, led off the inning, and she was rung up on strikes for the first out from Flood, and this will bring up Molitor. I worked for the Houston Astros a long time ago. I feel like in a sense they started this, but you talk about the speed. It really does also allow these teams to play fast, and there's a pace element to it, right?
Absolutely. That's, you know, a big part of it, and place by place. A tournament like this, Triple Crown's rules allow you to use all devices, offense, defense. Everybody can have one. But then you go and you look at the NFHS, and that's nationally governed, coach to catcher only. And, you know, when you get to the place of putting it on your players, it really can truly enhance the pace of play.
So tell me a little bit more about what the product is. You mentioned a watch. So every player wears a watch. What does the coach have, and what does kind of the signaling look like during the game?
Right. So we have a tablet and a handheld device. And on the tablet, essentially, however many calls you want to have, you can have in there. It's a landscape view. You can see 20 calls at a time. Filter it however you like. Do it by pitcher, do it by pitch type. You know, the customization on it is intended to be leaving it open-ended for coaches. And, you know, some, like college programs, will have 200 signs. The idea with Go Route is that you can beautify that a bit, simplify it, and your game day operation in the dugout.
All right, if you're a left fielder and you're wearing that watch, would you see pitch and maybe location so you know if you're cheating maybe in or back or to the left or right?
Precisely. And then there's also, within our system, you can add position-specific notes.
Molitor with a single to left.
To every single batter that you upload your opposing lineup, and if you have your scouting report on them, you can know where power slap, pull side shift, whatever. So you can get rid of cards. You can simplify just what you're trying to do, what you need to do with your defense, pitch after pitch. And, you know, I mean, if you're a third baseman and you know an inside fastball is coming,
you're ready.
Now you're on your toes. Yeah.
Pinch hitter Cameron Koklager, a Central Arkansas commit. Going to take one up and out. What's the response been then from the teams that use it?
So, you know, we rolled this out 2 years ago, and as of today, from 10U travel teams to the top Division I softball and baseball teams, we've got over 2,500 teams using Go Route.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's been a bit of a rocket ship, a lot of fun to kind of see the growth and then find opportunities like this to plug us in and take those strides forward. But we are a company built by coaches for coaches, truly. Everybody on our staff is from a coach's office. Everybody played. Everybody understands the game. And everybody understands that a coach needs to do their thing, right? And so the updates that we have perpetually are based on the feedback that we get from our clients.
All right, if you're out here playing a long day, you're playing 3 games in Colorado, will it last? The intent, you have to recharge? That's the basic question.
That's of course the big one, right? Yeah, really, you know, the intent was when we came out with the Diamond product was we need to get it through a doubleheader. So the expected battery life conservatively, 8 to 10 hours.
Okay.
And, you know, if you got some shade in your dugout, might be able to stretch it to 12. But plug it in, charge them up. It's all super handy. Comes in a case. Everything's together.
You know what I'm thinking as a former player? Now there's no excuse to miss a sign from your head coach, right? When you were young and you had to study all those signs and what they meant when the third base coach is patting his head and rubbing his arms. I mean, you got no excuse now to miss a sign.
Well, and not to mention, too, you know, just at the plate, runner on second base, you don't have to worry about getting picked anymore. You don't have to worry about remembering the indicator, chasing the one, whatever it is. You know, I was a relief pitcher myself, and there's definitely parts of the game that I wish I would have had Go Route on my team.
Well, you know, you see teams that have the old-fashioned wristbands, and they're flashing the signs as we see strike 3 here to Koklager. Good pitch, and I don't know how many times you'd say, well, they don't have the same cards because one's looking at what they think is a changeup, another one's getting their ice ball, and you're getting the miscommunication with the relaying of signals, so you don't have to worry about that.
Entirely eliminating that, you know, as a factor. And to your point, it's like if you can read, you can get the sign. And, you know, I was a 14-year-old boy at one point in time, so I understand that I wasn't always the greatest at paying attention or whatever, but that's another big bump for us is, you know, haptic response on the watch, sign comes. Oh, man.
Goodness, that one smoked Flood off the bat of Lawson. You could hear that make contact with the shoulder. And Lawson's going to get her 3rd hit of the game, and that was just too hot to handle for Flood. Let's see this one again. Kelsey, you're just trying to protect yourself, protect that watch.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where that hit. Luckily, nowadays, almost every single pitcher is wearing a mask, so you're protected a bit, but that doesn't slow down how fast that ball is coming at you, you know. And you see Kat Osterman going out and talking with her, seeing if it hit her hand or anything like that. She seems to be okay, though.
Yeah, she's not very dramatic. She's like, let's go.
She's been locked in for the last few innings that she's been in the circle.
Talking to Casey Proctor from Go Route, and just to kind of double up on what you just mentioned, you know, I'm an old guy. If you put that watch on me, it might feel different for a while. But this age group is just perfect for being with the technology.
Yeah, it's been really surprising, first of all, for me, because I'm also, in my heart of hearts, I'm a traditional baseball guy, right? And so the way that it has been adopted and just the trust that our teams have had in us to provide them with the value that they need from a system, you know, and yeah, like with the kids love it. Makes you feel you're using the same exact system as the top teams in the country collegiately. So, little big league feel for your travel team out here in the summer.
Big swing from Goose Hutchins. She bats with 2 on and 2 out, and Iowa Premier Gold up by an 8-4 score. So a chance for them to maybe blow a big hole open in this game if Hutchins can deliver. A couple of strikeouts and a hit by pitch so far in this game, and it's upstairs 2-1.
He's talking about the new technology in our game, and I tell you what, that's been a vast area of change over the last decade in the bat and ball sports collectively.
That one's lifted to left. My goodness, that's a monster. A no-doubt home run from Goose Hutchins, and Iowa Premier extends the lead. Kelsey, you're talking about one of the best players in the country. She's had a quiet game. That was loud.
I was just about to say this, Brett. 2 strikeouts for Goose Hutchins today. I was waiting for a big swing, and I was waiting for a home run from her all day. We saw her talent on display last year, and she just smokes this ball. Look at that swing. Look at the response, too. She knew it was a pretty swing, and she just lifts this one out of here. The home runs just continue to come from Iowa. Where does this one land?
It almost got the warning track, I think, and there's nothing like a backside home run with that type of juice, right?
Oppo Taco, baby.
That's now a 10-4 lead for Iowa Premier.
So it's an 11-4 lead. Iowa Premier in front of the Bombers. The Bombers are going to make another pitching change, and Casey, we'll kind of wrap with this before we get back in play. I think we'll have a chance to visit with you later on tonight or this weekend. But website, if people are interested in checking out.
Yeah, absolutely. www.goroute.com. Triple Crown Sports, again, shout out to them through our partnership. We do have some discounted pricing for participants in their events. So get in contact with us through goroute.com and bring it up with your rep.
Seems like a great marriage between you two in this event.
Looking forward to hopefully many, many years of being out here. This is truly, it's a spectacular.
Caroline Stanton on the pitch. Casey, thanks so much for joining us.
Indeed. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Casey Proctor from Go Route. And again, Kelsey, now the Bombers are on their 4th pitcher so far in this game. And I thought we would see 3 or 4, but this has been out of kind of necessity at times to kind of make some changes and try and mix things up in the circle.
Yeah, this isn't new for them. They've utilized pitchers throughout the week. They've been by committee. Caroline, she's committed to Florida. She threw in their semifinal game, so she did throw in their last game, but another power pitcher. She's going to hit upper 60s, possibly 70s, but she is one where you got to watch for the off speed. She has a nasty change, and you see on that pitch, she brings a lot of pop.
Well, that was firm, and here's Gracie King, and she has 2 home runs in this game, 4 homers in her last 2 games, and you got the power of Stanton against the power of King. And all of a sudden, if you're Iowa Premier Gold, you're starting to think about that run rule possibility as well. And maybe no surprise, Gracie King will draw the walk.
Yeah, wise decision. You got nobody on. Go ahead and take that walk for King.
Now, Stanton is a 2026, so she's got another year of high school ball. And I can't imagine facing Caroline Stanton in a high school game.
I mean, just the speed that she brings. Obviously, this is probably, for a lot of these players, facing this type of competition is really a step up from what they were seeing in their high school seasons previously, but I'm sure she is a player that just dominates during her high school season.
Got a pinch runner, Haley Holtz, not to be confused with Haley Bolts, is going to run. Holtz is an Iowa State commit. There's a pitch for a strike over the outside corner to Reese Pogue, who singled in 3 at-bats. I think you can get just a little bit off the corners here in Colorado, and that's exactly where Castillo had set up. And a couple of times they've used some different catchers. Have the Bombers. And that's strike 3. So Pogue will K to end the inning. 3 more runs come up. Also has an assist, gunning down a runner.
She's doing it all. And now she's got a new pitcher in the circle to work with. See Caden Delt coming in relief for Brinkley Morton, who had a great outing and held this Texas team to 4 runs. But for Cadence, one of the only 2 players uncommitted on this team, but she is a player who's going to bring some speed. She's a power pitcher, but also is going to keep these hitters off balance. Watch for her good changeup as well.
On their roster sheet that they pass out, Hutchins and Delt are featured at the top. Those are the uncommitted athletes. So for Delt, this is an important event and week. Obviously, Goose Hutchins, 2027, it's still a little bit down the road, and she will have her pick of whatever school she wants to attend, but an opportunity for Delt to pitch here on television. Castillo will take a strike at the top of the zone. Gabby Castillo knocked in a run back in the second, and Kelsey, that was the last time the Bombers scored.
Yeah, they've been silent the last 2 innings. We had mentioned they finally found their groove a little bit. Nothing out of the park like Iowa, but they were stringing together several base hits, moving some runners, making some good contact. But ever since that second inning, this team's gone quiet.
It's a testament really to Morton and what she did over a couple of innings, putting up zeros in the 3rd and the 4th, and only allowing 1 hit in that stretch. Castillo is going to roll one up the middle, head into center, and there's a lot of fields and stadiums around the country. When you get powerful teams to hit the ball on the ground, you'll take it. Those are outs. More often than not, those balls have just hit and skipped and continued into the outfield.
And they have just been hitting them in the right places. So many of these hits have just been singles on the ground that have been finding holes, and that was a great job by Castillo. On a 2-2 count, she waited back on the changeup, hit it right back up the middle for a leadoff base hit, something the Bombers want to see.
Brinley Ramirez next up. Showed Bunton is going to take a strike. Kansas commit is Brinley Ramirez, the right fielder for the Bombers. You think about Goose Hutchins, she's batted 4 times. Lawson's batted 4 times for the Bombers in the bottom of their lineup. This is just the 2nd time they've come to the plate. And now getting to see a different pitcher.
Yeah, now you got to adjust. Your last at-bat was what, probably just over an hour ago? This has been a long game, long matchup for only having 2 at-bats. You've had a lot of downtime. Now you got to face a different pitcher. That's a lot to adjust to.
Popped up in the right center. This ball's got a little bit of carry on it, but it will be caught by Rummins for the first out. I had the realization about a half an hour ago that hit you just about 10 minutes ago. You're like, we're in the 5th inning.
Still got a decent way to go.
2 hours old.
Obviously, we are in possible run rule territory, but man, this has been a lengthy battle between these 2 teams. We're not done yet.
We're back to the top of the lineup, and this is Brooklyn Gidley, and she does have a pair of hits, a single, a 2-run double. She scored a run, takes one a little bit in from Delt. Delt wearing number 77, kind of wraps that ball almost behind her back, and you can see it from that position. Once she takes that ball out of her glove, it's almost like you lose track of it as a hitter. She kind of tucked it behind her back. So you're trying to locate it. We'll see if she does it here again. Right here, she tucks that ball behind her back and then pumps in a strike. Hitters like to be able to see it.
I was going to say, that gives an advantage to Delt in the circle. When you have different grips, especially on a changeup, that one's sometimes easy to locate when you're a hitter out of the hand.
can see it better from this angle, I think.
Yep.
Watch her put that ball behind her back. She swings that entire movement behind her back. Out at second, safe at first. Lawson with the play, and she just about got the DP.
And I thought we had a double play there. Great job by Lawson at second base. Fielded the grounder, stepped on second, but just came up short on the throw. As you take a look here, just a two-hopper step, got in front of the bag at second, and it was a close one. Nice stretch by James at first. Just couldn't turn the double play in
That's
time.
a couple of nice plays, though, she's thrown out for us to witness. Again, this is Abdullah. She's grounded out. She struck out looking. We know the power is there as well for Abdullah, just as we did for Hutchins or King, who homered already in this game for Iowa Premier. She really brings that front foot back to start. She hovers it in the air and fouls one back to the screen. It almost looks like kind of an uncomfortable starting position before she swings open.
Yeah, a lot of hitters have different stances. I know for me personally, when I was hitting, I would always step to the left, or I would step my foot away from home plate. So that was kind of a tool that I used to help with that.
Mile-high pop-up, not an easy play for Pogue. She'll navigate, she'll make the kick.
About 11 runs in this matchup so far.
So the Midwestern girls putting on a show in their 18U Power Pool game. And the fun part about, I think, both of these teams, but we're talking about Iowa Premier, there's a lot of 26s on this roster.
A lot of young talent who still have a year to develop before they even hit the college years.
Haley Bolts will take strike one with a thud from a ball coming from the adjoining field. There's a professional game playing the field behind us. Little cue shot back to the circle. Handled by Stanton. Bolts retired to begin the sixth. And you did point out, though, Stanton did pitch the semifinal game to get the Bombers into this matchup. So, you know, that really takes a lot of work between Kat Osterman, Coach Smith. How many innings, how many pitches do you want to allocate over the day for your pitchers?
And you got more games in the future after this.
That's right,
so
starting tomorrow.
The week continues after this, so you got to be careful. Obviously, this is a game you want to win. You're showcasing your talent on television, but you got to be strategic about it. Obviously, she has thrown a lot today. So now you got to be careful in looking ahead at the games to come.
Paige Drummond's the batter. There will be several players from these two teams that will play in our Future Stars game following this one on ESPN+.
A lot of good talent. Obviously, they're here for a reason. They can showcase more after.
I don't know if it had to be about 45 minutes after the conclusion of this one, but I think I lost count at right around 70 players that are in that game.
A lot of players, a lot of opportunity.
When you're batting 34th or 35th, it's going to be a while before you get a chance to come to the plate.
It's certainly more of a fun event to be able to celebrate the talent of some of these players who are going to have incredible careers after this.
Good off-speed pitch. Watch that thing die in the batter's box. I mean, that started to spin in the Colorado dust. And our plate umpire right there to make the call.
It started foul and then spun its way into fair territory.
That was fair by what, a couple of inches?
If that.
You're Paige Drummond's and you've homered and you've singled, and then you're like, I hit that ball 2 inches.
I think two's being generous.
If you dropped it out of your hand, it might have gone further. So 2 outs here in the sixth. We had a guest in the booth earlier when we had some players inserted, pinch hitters and whatnot. There's a strike, and this is Tylen Edwards, first baseman, third baseman, catcher. Going to Southern Illinois. She pinch hit back in that 5th inning, so a chance for her second at bat. And she will go down swinging Nice frame from Stanton. 1, 2, 3 and done. The first frame where Iowa Premier does not score, and the Bombers just been a warm, dry afternoon, and these young ladies fighting their way through their second game of the day. And as we mentioned, a few will be in the Future Stars game to follow on ESPN+. Really have to take your hat off, though, to Morton and Delt with what they've done to this point in the circle for Iowa Premier.
Yeah, this Texas Bombers offense has gone a little cold in this game. We saw some hits early in this game. They played 3 in the second, but since then, 3 straight innings where the pitching duo has hung a 0 on the board.
Obviously, we know this Bombers team can homer and do a lot of damage top to bottom. Are you thinking base runners, though, just to get a few runners on to see if that might lead to a big inning?
Yeah, you want to just find some momentum. Obviously, they've passed the bat a lot. It's been pretty much all singles. No extra base hits besides 1 so far for Texas. So if you get them on, you get them moving, find a little momentum, start plating them, and maybe that's when you find to start some rhythm and you'll see the big hits come along.
That might have been ball 4. Instead, Morrison offered at it, fouled it away. Tennessee commit is Morrison, so SEC bound. Lady Vols found their way to the Women's College World Series, and that's ball 4. So I'm just trying to think, and maybe you can help me with this one with Elsa Morrison as a catcher. Yep, she's a 2025, so can you imagine going to college in the fall and they say, hey, why don't you go handle Carlin Pickens in the bullpen and see how you deal with her and her 79-mile-an-hour pitching?
Definitely going to be the fastest pitcher you have ever worked with. That's pretty cool. The pitcher you have seen all over TV. She was one of the top storylines this college softball season with her velocity in the circle. It's probably going to be a cool but probably slightly nerve-wracking moment.
I would think. You saw Josie Buscemi on the pinch run, Texas commit 2026 running for the catcher Morrison, and this is Montgomery Henderson. She's lined out twice, to first and third, the cleanup spot. It would seem like there's not much you could do to replicate the type of velocity you're going to see until you get in there and handle Pickens in the fall.
Yeah. There's not many pitchers around the country like her.
Say that again. Bombers have 6 outs with which to work, trailing by 7 runs. And for Delt, this is her second inning of relief. Wearing the black sleeve under her gray jersey. That's in the dirt, handled nicely by Gracie King. Anderson, an Oklahoma State commit, and we've seen King plenty, both behind the plate and in the batter's box. The Georgia Tech commit. Well, that just missed. I'm trying to watch Delden as a hitter. She gets that ball in her glove, and she's almost like she's shaking some moisture off it. There's a little bit of rattling going on in that glove. If you're a baseball guy, it's not quite Ryan Dempster-like, but watch when she puts that hand in the glove. Here's a little bit of shake right here. Shake, bounce, 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 bounce. Before she releases and pitches. Ground ball to short. And safe at second base. Pogue, I think, had a hard time getting that ball out of her glove, but they had an easy force at second, but they don't get it.
Yeah, an unforced error by this infield. Now you got 2 on and nobody out. Just popped off the glove of Lawson.
Well, if you're Iowa Premier, that's a tough one because you get the soft contact, you get it at an infielder. You want to start accumulating outs and keep runners off the bases.
You want to get off this hot field.
That too, yes, good point. And that one's a single by Tucker. Going to third is the pinch runner, Buscemi. She will circle around and score. So a walk, a fielder's choice in air, and a single. And the Bombers have made this a 6-run game and still nobody out. Second hit for Tucker in the game.
So that's really encouraging to see if you're Texas. You haven't been able to play to run the last 3 innings, but now you're starting to string together a few hits. You take advantage of an error, and now you score a run. It's 11-5 here, and you still got nobody out. You got a lot of room to work with here in this bottom of the 6th inning.
That's a great point. This inning still has some build to it. Tucker's looking at that wrist. I'm not sure if it happened on the swing. No, she's looking at that hamate bone area, and it looked a little bit swollen. Looks like we get a pitching change as well for Iowa Premier, so it gives Tucker an extra chance to examine what's going on with her hand. This looks like it's Haley Holtz, but she's still trying to get the feeling.
And I'm not exactly sure if that was just from the contact off the bat.
I didn't think she got jammed because she hit the ball hard enough up the middle, but didn't feel quite right. But our plate umpire, Scott Smith, they have their lineup cards out. They tell you to rub some dirt on it. There's nothing but dirt surrounding Tucker at first, and she's still looking at it. Let's see the swing again. Let's see if she reacted after she made contact or not. I thought maybe she got it closer to the handle. She got it off the end of the bat, which would be even more perplexing. But Haley Holtz is on to pitch, the Iowa State commit.
It's the 3rd pitcher we've seen for Iowa in this game. Haley's a pitcher who's pitched really well so far in this tournament. Premier's used her a lot. She is someone who's going to work up and down, north and south in the zone. She's also got a good off speed, similar to some of her counterparts. We'll look to see what she can do in this jam here. 2 on, nobody out.
The ground ball to short that wasn't handled at second with the throw, I think, is going to become a bigger factor in this inning if it hasn't already. It's led to an unearned run, and this is Keller. She's going to take strike 1. One big swing, even a gapper off the bat of Keller, will make things interesting. Iowa Premier needed 1 more run for that run rule possibility. They didn't get it. And here come the Bombers. Keller fouls one away. Another future SEC player going to Mississippi State. Holtz trying to pick up an out. Been a long day for King behind the plate, hasn't it?
Yeah. I was never a catcher, so I have no idea how to empathize with them and what they're feeling. But man, a hot day, staring into the sun with all that gear. Takes a certain type of person to be able to handle that.
You got to be tough. Holtz gets the pop up, and that'll carry back behind us, bouncing on the concourse. Haley Holtz from Richmond Burton High School. Trying to figure out where that might be. Sock to center off the end of the bat, and that required a long run from Bolts. I knew it was only a matter of time before Haley Bolts helped out Haley Holtz.
Both of the names involved in that play.
She went back, and I think that's your initial reaction here in Colorado, but she really had to hurry forward there.
And it even popped out of her mitt. Look at, she had to, little grab there. Save that one to get the first out.
And the runners did not advance, so that's also a big part of that sequence. Isabel Cruz is 1 for 2. She singled and scored a run. Richmond, Illinois is where Holtz is from, and that one just got away from King. She couldn't smother it. Both runners advance. Takes away the force now at every base. And even just a base hit would really tighten things up.
This is where you got to capitalize as a hitter. Put it in play somehow, some way. Got a 1-0 count, 2 on, 1 out. Even a sacrifice fly can score a run.
Cruz waiting. Here's the pitch. Up and out, 2-0. Iowa Premier would gladly take it out to allow the 6th run to score if they can pick up the 2nd of the inning. Play for the miss at a highway. The Rice pitches we've seen today from a number of different pitchers have really been impressive.
Yeah, and that was a 2-0 count. That was a hitter's count, and she still went chasing for it. A lot of these pitchers have had a lot of good spin and work up in the zone.
Well,
That's where you got a lot of swing and miss.
Indeed, and you never want to get cheated 2-0. Now the count's been even to 2-2. Cruz, a Utah commit. We had a Utah alum, pro, up in the booth with us earlier. Hannah Flippen from Athletes Unlimited. 2-2. How about this? An infield pop-up. We have not had many of those today, and Pogue will handle it for the 2nd out. Braylon Daniels bats with 2 outs. So instead of this inning being over, that error earlier has kept the Bombers alive, down 6 in the 6th. Daniels 0 for 2 today. Watches that one never really be in danger of being in the zone from Holtz. We've had 7 pitchers in this game. I think we expected that number, but we got to it quickly.
Lots of action in the bullpen from both teams.
Late on that swing from Daniels.
You get an opportunity to showcase more talent. It's hard to stay in a game for long, not only in these conditions, but just against these talented teams.
Hey, there's some shade in the bullpen. Big swing, fouled right back to the screen. That one's way high. Little interruption there as I shoot a bee out of our booth.
That was bigger than a bee. I think that was like a hornet.
Okay.
I backed away.
Yep, we're okay. We're alive. 2-2 the count to Daniels. Stroke to right center. That's down. It's going to skim towards the fence and play to pair. It's going to be a long single for Daniels, but with the bobble, she'll continue on to second base. So she gets the hit, she drives in a pair, and that ball wasn't handled cleanly out in center, and she just decided to cruise into second. It's 11-7.
This game has a whole new vibe to it. Big swing with 2 outs from Braylon Daniels. To take another look at it, just drives it into the gap, and Bolts actually did a pretty good job of cutting it off, not letting it roll to the fence, but a couple bobbles allows Daniels to get to second, and 2 runs score.
You're right, there were 2 bobbles and a step, and that one was bunted foul by Castillo. So the way this will be scored, that's 3 unearned runs this inning. And anything that would also score would also be unearned. So this is where the Bombers, if given 4 outs, are going to try and make Iowa Premier pay.
Especially at this point of the game, this has been a long game. You've been in the sun. You're probably tired out there in the infield. It's starting to become a long inning. This is where you got to settle in. Try not to let the fatigue and tiredness take advantage. Settle in and get it out.
Haley Nutter is going to run for Daniels. We saw her in the circle, and now we'll see her run at second base. 11-7 our score, and Castillo has had a pair of singles and a run batted in will bat, and that second error allowing Daniels to get into scoring position might also come into play. It's a case where Bolts wanted to cut it off before it got to the fence, and then with a bobble and a step and whatnot, ended up allowing the second base anyhow. Good pitch for strike one to Castillo. Way high from Holtz. Open stance for the left-handed hitter. Lifted to left. Andrews there. She'll make the catch off to her side, and that will end the inning. So, 3 unearned runs score. We go to the 7th. This Cameron Kolkager. We saw her bat. She pinched it in the 5th. Struck out looking. A Central Arkansas commit. So the second at bat for the 2026 future Bear. She's going to go down on strikes. So Stanton has really calmed things down nicely for the Bombers since she entered in the circle.
And she did a great job in the semis game to get Texas Bombers into this game. Certainly put a lot of innings on the arm, but she has been effective so far in both games.
I think she's going to throw a lot more before this week is over. We go back to the top of the lineup for Lawson. She has 3 hits, including a homer, but a quick ground out here. So Stanton has been fantastic. Bombers need 4 to tie and 5 to win in the bottom of the final few outs to end the 6th. The 3rd pitcher used by Iowa Premier, and that did not miss by much to start the bottom of the 7th. Future Cyclone. As a former Hawkeye and a future Cyclone, we're not supposed to get along. Yeah. But we'll do our best to navigate through this. Here's the 1-1. Boy, it fades right on that outside corner for a called strike. Pretty similar to where she threw that first pitch of the frame, but she's ahead in the count. Outfield and infield straight away. Sock to center, hit well, it's got a chance to go, and it will! Brynlee Ramirez homers to start the bottom of the 7th inning. And here come the Bombers with 4 straight runs. That's your number 10 hole hitter, speaking to the length of this Bombers lineup.
I said we've been waiting for the big swings from the Bombers, and we finally get it when they need it most. Bottom of the 7th inning. Number 10 hitter getting it done, Ramirez. Take another look at this swing. Goes down and gets this ball dead center field. Just enough power to get it over the wall. And Texas, coach said they've had production from top to bottom when we see it here when they need it most.
Off the bat, I thought Bolts might have had a chance because she was playing so deep, but it just didn't happen. And Iowa Premier is going to bring on, well, it'll be their 4th pitcher of this game. So now we've seen 4 pitchers for both teams, although this is Morton again re-entering. So the second time she's been in this game. So it's not officially 4 different pitchers.
And Morton was pretty effective against this Texas Bombers team. The later she went and deeper she went into this game, she gave up 1 run in the first inning, gave up 3 in the second, but after that was able to sit down this Bombers lineup. They struggled against her in their 2nd round and 3rd round of at-bats. Trying to come in and get the job done.
So there's no strangers at this point. And you see what Morton did from a ball and strike standpoint, about 2-to-1 ratio. She's seen these hitters. These hitters have seen her, and she needs 3 outs, and the Bombers need 3 to tie and 4 to win. We've had some walk-offs in this game before, so I think it was Kiki Estrada maybe a couple of years ago. Hit one out to deep right center. That was an aggressive swing from Gidley, who's been on base all 3 times with a couple of hits. It's hard for a slapper to run up in the box and take that full swing like she just did.
Yeah, the bat speed on that. That's hard to do when you're running in the box.
Takes one a little bit up and out. I think that's a swing, and it is. That's strike 2. If Gracie King didn't get the swing, she was going to argue because she turned around right away to say that was an offer.
That was a great spot. That is so hard to hit at that speed coming inside to a slapper. She gets contact on it.
Shadow center, and it's going to drop. You play deep because balls are hit hard in Colorado, and then one drops in front of an outfielder. And Gidley has her 3rd hit of the game.
I was just saying how hard of a pitch that is to hit. She comes on the exact same pitch. This time gets her hands way inside, makes contact, and gets it to fall in center field.
I love our side swings we've had replays of, and this is Abdullah. Remember, a couple of homers earlier. Now today in this championship game, she's been 0 for 3 with a pop-up and a ground out, but you know she would love to deliver in this her 4th AB.
And judging by the swings we've seen from Gidley and Abdullah, they are swinging for the fences.
You aren't kidding.
They want to end this game in a big way.
There might be some players where it's made contact, put it in play. This is do damage round. Down in the zone, 2-1. Still nobody out in the bottom of the 7th. So it's been a home run and a single. Now carries outside. It's tough when you're a pitcher like Morton and you threw 4 innings. She really was effective in the 3rd and the 4th before Delt came on to pitch in the 5th. But then you sit, you mentioned it before, it's a hot day, you're in the dugout, you're not sure if you're going to be called upon again, and all of a sudden you're back in the heat of battle with the toughest outs to get in front of you.
It takes a lot of energy. You've wasted so much energy in those early innings. You take a seat in the dugout, you probably haven't been doing much, and then to get up, warm up, and get back out there probably really quickly, that takes a lot to do. It takes a lot out of you as well.
Hitters count for Abdullah. Let's see how hard she swings if she gets a pitch to her liking. There's your answer. That came in and she took a tremendous hack at that pitch.
I mean, if that was 2 more inches closer to the plate, it would have been out of here.
2 more inches closer to her hands and it would have made contact with 3-2. I think that's ball 4, right? She says that's 4.
Yeah, I have ball 4.
I have ball 4, and our umpire says 3-2, and now they're going to confer. She's throwing her bat aside. She thinks it's ball 4, and indeed it is. Score 1 for the TV crew, but now, Kelsey, the tying run is coming to the plate, and we've got the 3, 4, and 5 hitters due up.
Big opportunity here, end this game in an exciting way.
Elsa Morrison with 2 homers earlier. Does she have one here? Tie game! A 3-run shot! Elsa Morrison has evened this contest at 11 apiece. Do you believe it? 4 unanswered runs in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Well, we said they were swinging for the fences, and that's exactly what Elsa Morrison did. First pitch swinging, and she takes this one out of here, way over the plate, takes it the opposite way, a 3-run blast, and all of a sudden, this Texas Bombers team has come all the way back to tie this game up.
That is 7 unanswered runs, and she knew it when that ball left her back.
She was fired up, so were her teammates.
Now, there's still nobody out. And this is Montgomery Henderson, who is the cleanup hitter. She's 0 for 3 today. Hard hit, base hit. There's the winning run that's on base in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Wow, talk about a change in momentum.
This was 11-4 in favor of Iowa Premier going into the bottom of the 6th. And those runs last inning, all 3 unearned.
They took advantage of the mistakes that Iowa made. They had an opportunity for this to be a run rule at one point.
So Morton came back for the second time, and now we're going to have another re-entry for Iowa Premier. Keep in mind, the winning run is on base. There's nobody out in this 11-11 game. Brooklyn Danielson, I believe, is on the pitch. She is an SIU commit, Southern Illinois. So this is now officially the 8th pitcher we've seen in this game.
Third pitcher we've seen this inning for Iowa. Brooklyn comes into this game needing to get some outs. She is a pitcher who throws a lot of strikes, works north to south, but is going to command the inside portion of the plate. Like a lot of these pitchers, we're going to see that rise from her as well.
Buscemi's going to run it first for Henderson, representing the winning run, and Avery Tucker is the batter. Now she is coming to the plate for the 4th time. She's had a couple of singles, knocked in a run back in the 6th. Wholesale changes everywhere for both teams. Looks like Poga's going to come back out at short, so she's going to re-enter. Tucker, the batter. Let's see how the Bombers play it now that they have the winning run on base. They're going to go with the bunt, handled. Nice job by Tucker. Sends Buscemi into scoring position. Danielson gets it out on the pitch with a sacrifice. Kelsey, the winning run's in scoring position, and as hard as these balls have skipped off the dirt, as a runner at second, you have to be thinking about scoring from second base on a single.
That's exactly what you want to do. You want to get her into scoring position because the bats have been hot. A single is likely going to score a run in this situation.
Kinley Keller is the batter. The Mississippi State commit. Singled way back in the 2nd inning. 11-11 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Swing and a miss. King had to locate that ball quickly to keep the runner from maybe thinking about advancing to third. Well done by King. 3 runs in the 6th for the Bombers, 4 in the 7th. That, of course, is high. Long day for these young ladies, and this has been a long game in the Colorado Heat. Where the Bombers have scored the last 7 in this game. Can they get one more to win it? And a 2-1 pitch. Fouled back to the screen. Remember, these teams met a year ago in a national championship tournament in the semifinals, and they went to extras.
Don't jinx us now.
That might have been a reverse jinx attempt. But nonetheless, when you hear that, you realize that these teams are evenly matched, maybe in different ways, but get to the same result. A lot of wins. Fouled back and out of play.
Very competitive with one another. For the first how many innings of this game, it really wasn't too competitive between these two teams, but the effort from Texas, like you said, 7 unanswered runs to give their team a chance not only to get back in this game, but an opportunity to win here with 1 out.
Can Danielson make a pitch? Keller waiting. That's not close. Off the backstop. That's going to provide a huge 360 for Buscemi, the pinch runner. And that changes everything now. It might force the infield to come in.
Just put it in play.
Any fly ball you would think might be deep enough to score the winning run. Count is full to Keller. Danielson ready. Infield in. The pitch. Cut on and missed. What a huge second out.
Biggest strikeout of the game coming right here. This one way outside and getting her to chase. That is a huge strikeout. Now it takes away the sacrifice fly. 2 outs. Ball on the ground. You're going to first to get the final out. An opportunity to send into extras.
Isabel Cruz is 1 for 3. She singled way back in the second inning and takes one down for a ball. 7 unanswered, scored by the Texas Bombers to tie up this game at 11 apiece here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Danielson entered a pitch a couple of batters ago. She's got a sacrifice bunt out and a strikeout. Hit in the air to right center field. This ball into the gap and it's caught. Bolts will run it down. 7 innings. It's not enough. Yeah, one of the most dangerous hitters in softball, and Goose Hutchins, who had a mammoth 3-run homer in the 5th. So a lot of teams might play this in a bunt situation. Well, 1, you're in Colorado, and 2, it's Hutchins in the box. Might just tell her to swing as hard as she can. Check swing, little pop-up. It wasn't located by Morrison. Oh my goodness, that was an easy out, but she didn't see it. And by the time she turned around, she had to lunge for it. That would have been a gift out off the bat of Hutchins if she was able to find it. She's shading her eyes. She can't quite get there. She could have caught that with her bare hands if she had seen it.
It was close to her, but it honestly wasn't too high of a pop-up. Didn't go too high in the air to give her enough time. And now you got a sacrifice bunt here.
Hutchins will drop down the bunt. Henderson bobbled it, but they're going to say it was after the out on the exchange. So Goose Hutchins, she had a swing. She's going to get the sacrifice. She'll send Lawson to third base. There was that bobble by Henderson, so it was a question, did she bobble it after the out was secured? And here's Gracie King. Would you walk Gracie King after 4 homers in 2 games?
With the way Stanton's pitching right now, I'd say go at her.
All right, I like it.
Test her.
I would not, however, give her something to drive, and the first one was not close. Stanton has not given up a hit since she has come in the game. She got the last out in the 5th, scoreless 6th, scoreless 7th. Mile-high pop-up. Will this one stay in play? It will. Who wants to call it? That's a fair ball! It was dropped and a run will score! Cruz and Abdullah got to the same spot. Cruz had called it, so she started to drift back into fair territory. The ball hit her glove and popped out. And that's how the 12th run will come across.
That was such a tough play. So much wind caught onto that ball. It was in fair territory and then came all the way back into fair territory and off the glove of Cruz. But what a crucial error, allowing the go-ahead run to score.
That would have been a huge out. The second out, the run wouldn't have scored. King would have been out. Poked out into right center field off the bat of Pogue. It'll drop. And King will go to second base. Now, we've seen how the wind has moved balls headed for straightaway center that have finished in right center. It had the same effect on that pop-up. But now Iowa Premier back in front. That's the first hit given up by Stanton, and there's still only 1 out.
To put it in perspective, that is the 29th hit of the game.
Stop it.
29.
Come on.
15th for Iowa, 14 for Texas.
I've lived it, and I still can't quite believe it. Mrs. Bolts, the center fielder. Couple of singles so far. Little tapper back to the circle. A lot of options. Stanton will take the easy out. There's 2 gone. Both runners move up. Remember at about the second inning, I said this felt like a theatrical play where maybe we were very early and there were several other different episodes to come?
You're a mind reader.
We've had that flow, that type of game. Here's Paige Rummins. And you know Stanton would love to get this out. Strand a couple of runners in scoring position to the point where her team then could win with just 2 in the bottom of the 8th, and they will start with a runner at second. Rummins takes strike 2. Rummins hit one against Stanton in the 6th inning that went 2 inches in front of the plate. And it spun in the dust. So she made contact. It was not good contact, however, against Stanton. But a base hit here would make it a 3-run game, you would think. It's a pretty good job by Morrison to jump up and glove that high rise pitch, and the count 2-2. Next one from Stanton is poked on the ground. Nice backhanded play at second base. What an effort by Gidley to end the inning. One unearned run has put Iowa Premier in front. Once again, the Bombers come to bat, needing 2 to win in the bottom of the 8th. To keep the game tied and send it to extras. Fisted a little cue shot off the end of the bat by Daniels. And the count 1-2. So now, if you were thinking about trying to advance the runner with a bunt, that has gone out the window. At least in the conventional way. Isabel Cruz is the ghost runner. Danielson's pitch. Boy, that was a pretty good looking pitch.
That was close.
Up, out?
2 and 2. High and outside, just barely, I think, missed the zone. But if you've got 2 strikes on you, that's a pitch you're probably swinging at.
Wave and a miss. Danielson gets the K. That's the first out and a big one because it does not advance the runner to third.
Yeah, you take away the sacrifice, you come back with the strikeout. Big swing and a miss. And like you said, runner stays put at second. That's huge.
Gabby Castillo has a couple of singles, and she's also flied to left. And I would say the left fielder Andrews is shaded way over near the line. There's all kinds of room in left center. Look where she's playing. She almost kind of disappears in that chain link fence, and there is an acre of real estate between left and center. Strike call. So the Bombers came from 7 down to tie. They left the winning run at third base. They gave up an unearned run in the top of the inning and still have a chance to emerge with the win. But Danielson, to her credit, has been getting some swings and misses in the count 1 ball 2 strikes.
She's been attacking the zone. Coach told us before the game she throws strikes. She's got to do that now.
Poke foul. Brinley Ramirez is on deck. She is the 10-hole hitter who led off the 7th with a solo home run that started that 4-run frame. So to get back to the top of the lineup, it's going to take a little more traffic for the Bombers if they're unable to get the win in the meantime. And Cruz remains at second. Fouled right back to the screen off the bat of Gabby Castillo. Oklahoma State commit. Danielson, the SIU commit, looking for another route. Another big pitch. That's high. 2-2.
That's a big pitch to lay off of, too. You've been fighting, you've been battling this at bat. You're trying to catch a piece of everything. To lay off one right there at your eyes, that was big. 2-2, the count now.
Danielson ready, the pitch. She saw it before. She laid off a high when they appealed, but no swing. So the count has gone full to Gabby Castillo. If she would draw the walk, the winning runs would be on base then with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning for Ramirez. Hot day in Denver. Extra innings. 3-2 pitch. She may have chased one up in the zone, but she fouled it back. Scott Smith said, make it down. See it down. Don't chase up in the zone. Danielson's done a really nice job since she's entered. 4th pitcher for Iowa Premier, the 8th we've seen in this game. Here's the payoff. Right down the chute, strike 3. She had been seeing elevated pitches, and they got her looking around the knees.
She's been going upstairs all at bat. She freezes her right here with one at the knees. Right over the center of the plate.
More center cut. This is Brinley Ramirez. Remember, she homered an inning ago. She took a home run cut. For all the incredible performances we have seen in this game, and we've seen plenty, if Brooklyn Danielson gets an out here, I'm not so sure she isn't the most important player of this contest. Pumping another strike And now the Bombers are down to their final out and final strike.
Whoever has the final out, final swing, that's going to be the player of this game. It has been a battle from start to finish. What team's going to come out with the win?
Pretty good spot. The King set up off the corner.
Yeah, to the fans in the stands, that probably looks like a strike. Obviously setting up way outside, but still a beautiful pitch nonetheless, trying to get her to chase. You're still ahead of the count, though.
Big pitch. Here comes the 1-2. Lifted in the air to center. Playable, and this game is over. The Colorado comeback for the Texas Bombers falls a little bit short. And Iowa Premier has won the 18U Power Pull Championship.